Hi, I'm Don. I'm an artist here at the Animation Academy at Disney's Hollywood Studios here in Florida. Here at the Animation Academy, we teach guests how to draw their favorite Disney characters. The Fab Five are always popular characters. We have Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto, and today we're going to teach you how to draw Goofy. So we're going to get started, and we're going to begin with a circle, roughly about the size of a baseball or an orange, right in the very center of our piece of paper. Now, the most important thing about making your circle is to keep it very, very, very light, almost invisible, because we don't work with erasers, so if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Just keep it light and messy, and we'll darken it in at the very end. That'll be the last thing we do. So once we have a circle, or something kind of, sort of circular, we're going to add some guidelines. The guidelines are going to help us to figure out where to place our parts and features onto our characters. For Goofy, I'm going to start with a vertical line right down the center because we're going to be drawing him facing forward. So the middle of his face is right in the middle of our circle. Our next guideline is going to be the horizontal guideline, which is going to tell us where we want his eyes to go. And for Goofy, that's going to be right above the bottom of the circle, just a little bit above the bottom there. And that's it. That's your foundation for Goofy. You have the shape of his head, you know where the middle of his face is going to be, and you know where to place his eyes. What we're going to do now is what we call the framework of the character. These are the basic parts and features that are going to give us the look of our character. It's not the finished drawing, so again, you want to make sure these lines stay really, really light. So first thing we're going to draw for Goofy is his nose. His nose sits right here near the bottom of our circle, kind of half in and half out of the circle. It's a nice big oval. Think of it like an oversized grape or an olive, partially in and out of your original circle. So there's Goofy's nose, right along the center. Around his nose, we're going to draw his muzzle, or his snout, because remember, Goofy is a dog, just like Pluto. In fact, they're very similar characters, but we'll show you the differences between the two as we continue along. So for Goofy, we're going to start with a bigger oval, a little bit above the guideline. Think of it kind of like a potato as we go around our nose. Nice big oval. So that's going to be the start of Goofy's muzzle. At the top of his muzzle, right at the edge of our circle, we're going to add Goofy's cheeks. And Goofy, of course, is a very cute and lovable character, so we're going to give him these little adorable chubby cheeks. And they look like a lowercase letter N. Just a little bump, half in and half out of the circle on each side. From the outside of our cheeks, we're going to create Goofy's chin. Goofy is kind of like the Jay Leno of the Fab Five, so we want to make sure we give him a nice big chin. So we're going to draw a big letter U from the outside of one cheek, going all the way down and coming back up to the outside of his other cheek. Just draw it very lightly through the muzzle, and then bring it right back up again. Nice big letter U shape underneath of his muzzle. And that is going to be Goofy's chin. Inside of our circle, we're going to start to add his eyes. And Goofy has very, very large eyes. The shape that we're going to use is a hook or a candy cane. Starting right here at the inside of the cheek this time, we're going to draw a nice tall hook as it curves up to the top of the circle and then back down toward the center line. In fact, you might even want to bring it outside of your circle a little, just to exaggerate Goofy's expression. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger to give Goofy a more exaggerated expression. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Bring it up a little bit above the circle and then right back down. When you put them together, it kind of looks like a big capital letter M. Above his eyes, we're going to add his eyebrows. And his eyebrows are also a capital letter M. They're just going to sit above the eyes. So now we have the basic framework for Goofy. And we can start to go in and add the details. And for Goofy, that's going to start with his muzzle. The top is pretty good, but the bottom for Goofy is actually going to curve upward a little bit closer toward his nose. So we're going to shape the bottom part of his muzzle a little bit more. And I'll do the same thing on this side as we bring it up just under his nose. Inside of his cheeks, we're going to start to add his dimples. And the dimples are actually one of the most important parts of an animated character for two reasons. Number one, dimples make everything cuter. It's true, anything with a dimple is automatically more adorable. And number two, the dimple is the anchor point of a character's smile. So we're going to go there next. Inside his cheek is a little curved line, right below the top of each cheek. Those are his dimples. From the center of one dimple to the center of the other, we're going to follow the shape of his chin. We're just going to make it a little bit smaller to create his smile and his lower lip. So there is Goofy's mouth. Underneath of his mouth, I'm going to separate his lower lip from his chin with a little curved line. Now, to finish up his mouth and move up a little bit further toward the top of his head, we're going to add his tongue inside of his mouth. His tongue looks like a pair of sand dunes or some rolling hills on nice countryside. Just two curved lines inside of his mouth. And there's his tongue. As we move further toward the top of his head, we'll add a wrinkle or two above his nose. And then we can add Goofy's pupils inside of his eyes. Now, Goofy's eyes are a little bit different than any of our other Fab Five characters. They're so close together, they actually form one big eyeball with two pupils. There is no separation between Goofy's eyes. Pluto, even though, again, he's very similar, there is a definite separation between the two characters. So for Goofy, we're going to have a little bit of fun with him. You can make one pupil even a little bit bigger or smaller than the other. Put one up here at the top or over here on the side. Make him as goofy looking as you want him to be. That's one of the great things about Goofy. No matter how he turns out, he's always going to look goofy. So have some fun with him. On the sides of his head, we're going to attach his ears next. And Goofy's ears sit right above his cheek. Little bump on each side is where his ears attach. They're kind of the muscles that keep his ears connected to his head. Unlike Pluto, Goofy can't move his ears around. They always hang straight down unless he's on the Tower of Terror. The shape of his ear looks like a big teardrop or raindrop as it hangs down almost to the bottom of the page. Again, think of it kind of like a hook or a letter J. And then the outside of his ear is going to curve right back to our little bump. So there's the shape of his ear. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll just make a mirror image. And we'll hang down behind his muzzle all the way to the bottom. And then we'll curve it right back to that little bump. And I just noticed there is one little thing that I almost forgot to add in that also helps to separate Goofy from Pluto. In case anyone gets confused, this is probably one of the easiest ways to tell the two characters apart. Their teeth. With Pluto, you will almost never see his teeth unless he's angry or he's giving you that big cheesy smile. Goofy always has two buck teeth that are always visible even when his mouth is closed. So we're going to add Goofy's teeth. They line up with the edge of his nose and with the edge of his cheek. So if you go straight down from the outmost portion of his cheek and from the edge of his nose on each side, that will tell you exactly where his teeth are going to go. And Goofy's teeth, of course, are not sharp and pointy. They're nice and rounded. Think of it like a marshmallow hanging down from the top of his mouth. It's almost like Goofy was in a really, really bad hot chocolate accident when he was little, and 2 marshmallows got permanently grafted to his upper lip. So now it's definitely Goofy and not Pluto. At the top of his head, the only thing we need to add now is his hat. And Goofy's hat is actually broken up into 3 different parts, and that was done on purpose to ensure that we remember Goofy is a dog. The lowest part of his hat, right above his eyebrows, starts with 2 curved lines, and then we're going to connect it with a halo here around the bottom. That represents Goofy's dog bowl. Above the dog bowl is the black stripe in the middle of his hat. And sometimes that will even say Goofy across it. That represents his dog collar. And the very top part of his hat is his dog bone sitting inside of his dog bowl. So again, 2 short curved lines, and then we're going to have a shape that looks like a bone sitting here on the top. So there is Goofy's hat. And finally, to finish him up, we're going to add 3 hairs at the center of his eyebrows. The hair in the middle is always the longest one. Now, once we have all of our lines and shapes and something that looks kind of, sort of, maybe if you squint at him hard enough like Goofy, now we can find the lines and shapes that we like and darken them in. And now if you have any changes or anything that you're not too sure of, don't worry about it, because that dark line will take over. Everything else is going to fade away and disappear into the background. And that is the secret to drawing without an eraser. The same way animators, comic book artists, and cartoonists draw characters. They make mistakes all the time. We just never know about it because the lines are so light that we only focus on these dark, finished lines. And so we're going to do exactly the same thing. Keep it light, keep it messy. You make mistakes, and it's not a big deal. You go over it at the end, and you make it look like you knew exactly what you were doing the entire time, even if you have absolutely no idea. So as we finish them up, we'll shade them in at the end, we'll add a little color, and we'll bring Goofy to life right here on our piece of paper. So as you can start to see the characters come alive. When you're done, always make sure you go ahead and sign your name on there somewhere at the top, at the bottom, on the right or the left, wherever you've got a little bit of room for it. And there you go, a very quick sketch of the one, the only, Goofy. Here's a fun fact for you. Goofy wasn't originally Goofy. His original name was Dippy Dog, then Dippy the Goof, then they changed it to The Goof, and finally to Goofy. Come see me and all the other great artists here at the Animation Academy in Disney's Hollywood Studios, and we may teach you how to draw your favorite character. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.